Ready. More Americans have finally woken up and now want to stop Muslims at the border. The President of the United States finally gets passionate about defending terrorists. And a Muslim man in Arizona makes the case that he's allowed to murder his wife. But don't worry, I'm sure he'll be a lot nicer to your mom and your wife and your daughter. My name's Howard Riell, and this is Real Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr and in the book Real Truth, Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC. Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number is 877-254-7524. My friends, welcome back. Let's waste not a moment. Item from the Gateway Pundit. 50% of voters now support a temporary ban on Muslims entering the United States. 42% of likely voters reject the idea. That's a 22-point swing since May. The numbers have changed significantly since the Pulse Club massacre by Islamist extremist Omar Mateen. Breitbart.com reported, quote, new polling data from Reuters shows a surge in support for a far-reaching temporary ban on any Muslim entry into the United States. In the wake of the terrorist attack in Orlando, 50% of likely voters now support a temporary halt on Muslim entry into the U.S. Just 42% of likely voters oppose the temporary ban. That suggested policy is a much harder line than the temporary ban on Muslim immigration or the long-term ban on immigration from countries with a history of radical Islam that have been proposed by GOP candidate Donald Trump. The finding represents a 22-point swing since the beginning of the month. At the end of May, just 40% of likely voters supported a halt, while 54% opposed one. Unquote. What are the people thinking, I wonder, my friends, who oppose such a ban? What are they thinking? Well, the answer really is simple. They're not thinking. Liberals seldom think. They feel instead. Their hearts are full of compassions and their craniums are full of air. This is not anti-Muslim. This is anti-people who are coming here who obviously want to kill them. And I don't just mean people who are newly arrived. I mean second and third generation too, like the brothers in Boston who destroyed people at the Boston Marathon. If more people are having their consciousness raised because of the tragedy in Orlando, well, then that is the silver lining in an otherwise dark cloud. We've got to stop Muslims from coming here into the United States. And then we can focus on the Muslims who are already here. This is Real Truth. Go nowhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Earth.
Well, it had to happen. When Colorado legalized marijuana, most people thought the Green Herb was a marijuana dispensary. Also, it was legalized on January the 1st, 2014, the same day we opened our new location at 4565 Kipling Street, 1.5 blocks south of I-70. There are 83,000 cars a day passing in front of our new location on Kipling Street, and most of them thought we were a marijuana dispensary. So, we changed the name of our retail store to New Genesis Health, but we kept the name of our Green Herb Supplements. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Genesis Health, or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372. And be sure to listen to the Healthy Nature Show with Linda Phillips every Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah."
I got some good videos to play today, my friends. Informative videos. By the way, I'm going to post them all on my Facebook page, Real Truth Radio. Make sure you go there, check them out, share them, get America talking about this stuff, because, man, do we need a conversation. Welcome back, Howard Riell. Real Truth, we're going to be jumping into the whole Muslim jihadi thing today, I promise. Let's begin with my colleague Alex Jones talking to Roger Stone on Infowars.com. An update on the Trump campaign. Here we go.
Hey, let's shift gears, Roger Stone, for a moment, because they're obviously not going to be able to block this forever. It's coming out. How are things really going for the campaign? I mean, you always give us the straight shot. How is Team Trump doing?
I think Monday may have been the best day the Trump campaign has date, in the sense that he is back to dominating the dialogue. This election is going to be decided largely on the question of who can deal with domestic terrorists who plan to kill many, many people between now and the election day and after. If you believe Hillary Clinton is better suited to handle that problem, then you should vote for her. On the other hand, Trump is back on his strong suit. This has validated the central argument that we need to secure our borders. So I think he's back on offense. The major speech on the Clintons' corruption, which was scheduled for Monday, is still in the works, as I understand it, and it will be a devastating narrative. The foibles of the Clinton Foundation and the epic corruption there, in which foreign nations are paying, like Russia, like China, like Saudi, are paying for favors and preferential treatment, while it has gotten some good coverage from the New York Times, largely the mainstream media has sought to ignore.
Sure, so the question is the establishment going to let a foreign multinational coup take place in America? Because we will be fully conquered if Hillary, who's totally blackmailed, gets into power, blackmailed by all these disparate interests that have, treated her, like a vending machine where they put money in and get out of it what they want. It is truly, truly, truly outrageous, and it does show their disconnect. Hillary, whose State Department protected this very person, this monster, now blaming the Second Amendment. I think they've really miscalculated. What do you think, Roger Stone?
Well, I mean, what's really amazing is if Al Capone were alive today, he would be in awe at what they have built at the Clinton Foundation. I mean, this is an international pay-for-play scheme. It is the largest single money laundering operation in U.S. history. And the Clintons have taken millions of dollars both through the foundation and through their phony global initiative and through their phony speeches directly to their pockets, hundreds of millions of dollars of people buying decisions in Washington. I look forward to a time when Hillary, who says she is an advocate for women, I'd like to hear from the women of Libya. How have they fared under the regime change there that was fought by
the same thing in Syria. Roger Stone, I always appreciate your time. In closing, what do you make of this whole Washington Post situation where Trump says they're kicked off the campaign? I mean, that's fine with me because they're obviously globalist operatives in many ways. But at the same time, I mean, he's talking about, hey, we should have bombed the trucks. We shouldn't give them an hour's notice. Either Obama's a fool or he's got another agenda. Clearly, he's not talking about the Orlando shooting there. He's saying Obama is, has the gloves on when it comes to fighting ISIS. Well, we know that. So, but I mean, what is Trump so mad about? The fact they tried to misrepresent it as Orlando?
The Washington Post is the single most dishonest publication in the history of American journalism. They were wrong about Watergate. They were wrong about Iran-Contra. They were wrong about the Iraq War. And they're wrong about the current situation. I have a piece that I will be publishing shortly, a 5,000-word piece called The Lies of Bob Woodward. And I trace how he is a pathological liar who has lied about every major historical event in his reportorial career. So,
sure, isn't he really just a naval intelligence front?
I say bravo in some place, believe me. Some place, Dick Nixon is giving the thumbs up over Trump's trashing of the Washington Post.
Well, I was about to say, it's clearly a foreign intelligence cutout. I mean, Bilderberg Group basically runs it. They admit that.
Well, it has always had the traditional close ties to the Central Intelligence Agency. Socially, the Grahams mixed with Angleton and Meyer, and that's their social set. It is interesting that shortly after the death of John F. Kennedy, former President Harry Truman wrote an op-ed piece in which he said that approving the formation of the CIA was the greatest mistake he made as president, that it had become a rogue government unto itself. That ran for one edition, and then it was spiked. by the publishers at the request.
That's right. And of course, the CIA itself is basically a foreign intelligence group set up by the British. I'm not saying the British run us, but it's like a multinational combine. And of course, your books break that down. They're all available at InfoWarsStore.com and StoneZone.com. Roger, thank you for the update. I look forward to having you on very soon.
Al, it's great to be with you as always.
Well, it's always great to present Roger Stone on the show. Let me tackle the big elephant in the room that no one will acknowledge. And I'm telling you, I was watching Fox News last night, and even they tiptoe around this very, very gingerly. Well, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that I don't tiptoe. I give it to you straight. No one can figure out why is Barack Obama taking such a genteel approach throughout his presidency with Islamic terrorism. He won't even say the phrase Islamic terrorism. Everything he does, all the way up to giving $150 billion to Iran and not in any way impeding their nuclear weapons program, everything he's done, sending material, weapons, systems, vehicles to terrorist groups, tying the hands of law enforcement here in the United States, everything he's done has strengthened terrorists, weakened America. People on TV cannot figure out why. Why is he doing it? Okay, well, I hope they're listening to the show because I'm about to tell them why. Because Barack Obama is on the side of the terrorists. Barack Obama wants the terrorists to kill Americans and help destroy America. Barack Obama hates Americans, hates Christians, hates Jews. He's got a love affair with Islam from the time he was a boy. His father was a Muslim. Obama went to Muslim schools. Is he officially a card-carrying Muslim? I don't know, and I don't care, because if he was, he couldn't be any more pro-Muslim, pro-jihad, pro-terrorist than he is. We have an enemy in the White House. There, I've said it. I expect a black helicopter over my house any minute, but you know what? I don't care. You come into this world and God expects you to do certain things. One of them, right at the top of the list, is to tell the truth and speak truth to power. The truth is Barack Obama is an enemy of America and Americans and Israel and all the Western countries. Obama's heart is with the Muslim Ummah. And if the fakes on TV can't get themselves to say it, well, like I said yesterday, you want truth, you come here. We'll be right back.
We all know that our government is out of control. What are the point of people in it? How can we, the people, bring it back to the people's servants, not the people's masters? Liberty Forum and the Freedom Rider says officials in government must be made accountable for their actions. AccountabilityRevolution.com is the place to go to learn how you can actually make that happen. Become their judges, not their slaves. AccountabilityRevolution.com. Fort Collins Radiator Shop reminds us child abuse is one of America's saddest crimes. Child abuse is not just some other family's problem. If you or anyone you know needs help, call your local authority. This message from your friends at Fort Collins Radiator Shop, 417 Jefferson Street in Fort Collins. Serving the community for over 47 years. For all your radiator repairs, call 970-482-6783. On the air for our children.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Real Truth, Howard Real behind the microphone. I told you Barack Obama is an enemy of the United States of America. The proofs are so abundant, I don't have time in a broadcast week to present all of them to you. But here's Sean Hannity, Fox News. He's got a guest who's going to tell you how Barack Obama's administration has hogtied our internal security forces in trying to check the growth of Islamic terror. So you listen to this and then try and tell me with a straight face that Barack Obama loves America and wants the best for America. Here we go.
Here with Reaction, author of See Something, Say Nothing, a Homeland Security officer exposes the government's submission to jihad. Former DHS employee Philip Haney. Philip, now you started working for DHS in 2003, correct?
Yes, I was a founding member of DHS.
And part of your job is you were looking for terror ties. For example, you would identify people with terror links. In the early 2000s, you were profiling people with links to all of these terror groups. That was your job, right?
Yes, we were connecting the dots. We were focusing on individuals and organizations, networks across both the United States and with affiliations in foreign countries.
Then 6 years into your tenure in 2009, you were ordered to scrub the records of Muslims with these terror ties by our government. Who told you to do that?
I was directed from DHS headquarters. It's important to keep in mind that was 1 year after the November 2008 Holy Land Foundation trial, the largest terror trial in American history, that irrefutably proved that these individuals from the Muslim Brotherhood front groups were in direct financial support of Hamas.
And that's the trial where CARE was named as an unindicted co-conspirator, if I'm not mistaken.
As along with the Islamic Society of North America and the North American Islamic Trust, three major groups.
Okay, so you were doing your job, identifying individuals, you built up a computer database, Obama becomes president, you were literally ordered to scrub the names of Muslims with terror ties that you had worked so hard to find. You believe you could have stopped what happened in Orlando and San Bernardino had you not been ordered by Obama's DHS to do this. Is that true?
Well, that was the first, what I call the first great purge. That was in 2009 with more than 800 records. The case that I'm referring to about stopping the San Bernardino and now related to the Orlando was 3 years later in 2012. It was a larger case called the Tablighi Jamaat Initiative, and it was another network separate from, but related to in some ways, the Muslim Brotherhood network that we just talked about.
So, in the case of San Bernardino, it was Saeed Farouk and his wife. You had identified that mosque as a place where you believe we should have been paying attention to, correct?
There's an entire network of those kind of mosques across the United States, and I found out a couple of days ago that the mosque in Fort Pierce is also related to the same network. Let me
ask you bluntly, could San Bernardino, but you were doing this great work, and I applaud you for what you have done. You were told to scrub, literally, the records of Muslims with terror ties. You had to do your job or you'd be fired. Do you believe in your heart that the information you had gathered, if you had kept that information, you might have been able to prevent the terrorist attacks in both San Bernardino and Orlando?
Well, to clarify, I wasn't told to scrub. My agency deleted them themselves. But yes, I believe I have a plausible premise that we could have stopped it by two major ways. Either Syed Farouk would have been put on the no-fly list and not allowed to travel, or his pending fiancé would have been denied a visa because of his affiliation with an organization with plausible ties to terrorism. That's at least two different ways.
Can I repeat this one other way? You did your job, and other people did their jobs, and in comes the Obama administration, and they wipe out all the work that could have potentially saved the lives of Americans. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it's a fair statement. My records were tagged, and I got an email from all 67 of them when they were deleted, and they came back to my inbox exactly the moment when they were entirely deleted from the system.
Oh my God, this is unconscionable. Phil Haney, thank you for telling the truth and speaking out. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It shocks the conscience. And next, here tonight on Hannity.
I watched President Obama today, and he was more angry at me than he was at the shooter. And many
Donald Trump at a rally tonight hits back at President Obama. We spoke with Donald Trump earlier today. That interview is coming up next. Plus, Democrats. 1,000 people all across the 50 states that are ISIS related. Those are the investigations that are going on now. But the FBI knew this guy claimed at work that he was connected to Al Qaeda and Hezbollah. Reports he cheered after 9/11, and they looked into him for 10 months. He got free. How do we fix that?
Well, they had a bad day. I'm a big fan of the FBI, and things can happen, and I guess they didn't have anything concrete on them, and you can understand it. But we have to really increase our...
Yeah, I understand it. The FBI can do a good job, but they are told from the top down not to put the screws to potential terrorists, not to... You just saw the fellow Haney who was on before. They collected the names of 800 potential terrorists, people who were connected to terror organizations, and the Obama Justice Department told them to erase them. Well, why would anyone who wants safety for the American people order that? And the people down the chain know exactly what they can and can't do, and if they do the wrong thing, if they really begin to surveil these potential terrorists, they face sanction or even firing or God knows what. Because they know that the boss of their boss will put the hammer down on them, and that's why these people are getting through the system. Let's go back to Trump and Hannity.
Intelligence gathering in this country. We have people in this country that are just as bad as him, worse than him. Right. And they're plotting things right now, and we're letting more in. Hillary Clinton's letting everybody in. She has a 550% increase over Obama. She wants to let that many more people in.
So, my friends, you tell me who's worse. Here we've got Barack Obama, who probably is a Muslim, certainly loves Islam, raised in Islam, sings the praises of Islam, and he's helping terrorists. Then you've got Hillary Clinton, who had no connection to Islam, but she's such a greedy, ambitious piece of trash that just like Obama, she's also willing to see Americans slaughtered just so she gets to be president. So she can share that White House bedroom with Bill.
From Syria and from various places. Now, I just think it's insane because we don't know what's going on. We have no control over it, but you have people right now showing worse, in my opinion, worse and maybe with bigger minds than this savage that just got killed. I mean, the concept of allowing more people in when you know that many of them are going to have problems and going to cause trouble is incredible.
When you call for a temporary ban on refugees, people coming from countries, I'm sure you know that the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, the FBI Director Comey, the Assistant FBI Director Steinbeck, the House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Mike McCall, Obama's former Special Envoy to defeat ISIS, General Allen, they all said, and ISIS has said, that they will infiltrate the refugee population. Now, the president insists we take these people in. Hillary's all for it. To me, that's gambling with people's lives, the American people's lives. Why would they ever risk that?
Sean, on the migration, on the line, the big line with thousands and tens of thousands and even millions of people, you had people with cell phones with the ISIS flag on them, okay? Number one, how did they get cell phones? Number two, why are there so many men, young, strong men, but they've got cell phones with an ISIS flag on them, many of them, and the press doesn't want to report it? I mean, what are we doing? It happens. No common sense. There's no strength. There's no common sense. Look at what's going on in Germany. It's a mess. It's a total mess. People living in Germany want to leave.
ISIS infiltrated in Paris. We saw the result. ISIS infiltrated in Belgium. We saw the result. Our own intelligence officials are warning us that ISIS will infiltrate here, and ISIS has said they'll infiltrate here. So my question is, it seems that the narrative's gotten off base. I think the question has now become, why was the president and Hillary Clinton willing to gamble with the lives of the American people? Because to me, that is an unnecessary risk. Do you think the country miscalculated as it relates to the danger?
Well, totally miscalculated, but it's not even a miscalculation. It's common sense. You're letting people in from Syria. They have no documentation. We don't know where they come from, really. This could be the all-time great Trojan horse. We'll bring the Trojan horse out of retirement. This could be the all-time great Trojan horse. We're allowing these people, and Hillary Clinton wants many more to come in. Obama's got a certain number. She wants to increase it by 550%. Is this insanity or what? Now, I don't think it's going to work. I think the people are too smart. The press covers my stuff, whatever I say, they cover totally inaccurately. That's why I like to do live television, actually, because I get covered totally inaccurately. If I say something, they make it sound like, totally different.
We've never edited you. We don't edit you.
No, you're great, and I appreciate that. And I love shows that don't edit, but I like live television, because on live television you say what you have to say. But I just took away the press credentials of the Washington Post. I mean, they made the statement that I said that Obama went in and shot the people. I mean, what they do, that is the most dishonest paper. But there's so many dishonest papers. Washington Post is a joke. Okay,
look at the New York Times, but that boomerangs back in your favor, because the women mentioned in the article, they all came out for Trump.
Those women were so incredible. I'd like to give them medals. They deserve it. They write an article like I was bad to these women. They all came back and said, we really like Donald. He was great. He was a great guy. I mean, you're talking about many years ago. It was such a false article. And yet, a week later, the same guy, the same writer, who's a real sleaze, but the same writer wrote another story on something else highly inaccurately. So, you really have to get the word out yourself, because the press is really dishonest. I don't mean like they made a mistake or they didn't quite cover it wrong. They are so dishonest. You can make a speech, a perfect speech, everything said perfectly, and they will try and find things that may be this or maybe that. So, I mean, I hope the people and I hope the voters know what's going on in this country.
Let me move to Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation, and I want to go through some things with you. She took up to $25 million from Saudi Arabia. She took up to $5 million from the government of Brunei and Qatar and Oman and the UAE. I want to talk about their rights. In the three cases of Saudi Arabia, Brunei, and Qatar, they actually allow the assassination or the execution of gays and lesbians.
That's right.
In Saudi Arabia, women can't drive, they can't vote, they can't go out in public without a male's permission. They're told what to wear. They have a morality police, 4 male eyewitnesses for rape under Sharia. And my question to you is, she never until yesterday criticized these countries. She never until yesterday said radical Islam.
And that's because
she was shamed into it.
That's because, she was shamed into it by me. And that's because of the pressure I put on her. But here's a woman that takes all of this money from these countries, and then she says she loves women, and she's totally with the gays and the whatever group you might talk about, the gay, lesbian. Now, let me just tell you, Sean, how can she be? They want to kill the gays. They throw them off buildings. They actually throw gays off buildings, and she's taking money. And I'm calling for her to give back all of the money she's taken from these countries, okay? I'm much better for women than she is. I'm much better for gays.
What does that say, though? Until yesterday, she got all these millions of dollars from these countries, and she never criticized their policies, their abusive policies to women, minorities, gays. They're a country that does not allow the free practice of religion. There are no temples, there are no churches. There's no Christianity in these countries. But she takes their money. Did they buy her silence?
$25 million from one. Look, they bought her off. She's paid off. Politicians. But she's paid off, 100% paid off. And until we brought this up, and I brought it up, and then she talks about women, well, let me tell you, I'm much better for women than Hillary Clinton will have.
So, my friends, it gets real simple. Do you want a president who has taken $25 million from the human trash that leads Saudi Arabia? Who's taken millions of dollars from Brunei and Qatar and the United Arab Emirates? Do you want that person to be president? Someone who is a whore for the Arab terror and oil interests? If you do, vote for Hillary. But then you're a fool and you're worse. Because any Americans who are murdered, their blood will be on your hands. We'll be back.
folks, have you ever thought about having your own backyard chickens? Now you have a source for certified organic, no GMO, no soy chicken feed. HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948, or go to happyhens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At happyhens.biz, we love happyhens.biz, or call us at 303-829-5948. Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies reminds us Alzheimer's and other types of dementia are progressive diseases, no bias, no matter the race or gender. Warning signs include memory loss and loss of initiative and drive. If you know of a loved one, a friend, or a neighbor showing these signs, contact your family physician now. This message from Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies. For more information on their services, call 970-484-7981. That's 970-484-7981. Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom capabilities as modest as emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
Real Truth marches on inexorably. Howard Riell. The show is called Real Truth. I know because I named it myself. Donald Trump gave a talk in Atlanta today. Here's a part of that event. Herman Cain, very eloquent spokesperson for the Republican Party, for conservatism, for Donald Trump. I actually talked to him once many years ago when he was the president of the National Restaurant Association. Anyway, here he is with some comments about Donald Trump and about what's going on in America. Let's listen.
One of the great conservative voices in America today, and I'll be surprised if the fox is still standing when he's done. Herman Cain. Shucky ducky. Thank you very much. This sounds like a shucky-ducky kind of crowd on a shucky-ducky kind of day, here to support an shucky-ducky kind of candidate. Thank you for being here. I don't need to tell you that America is at a crossroads again. And at this particular point in our history, it is up to us by the Democrats, blurred by the progressives, whatever they are, in order to try and label Donald Trump something that he's not. Just in case the nightly news hadn't heard or put this comment up there, I want to set the record straight. Because that's what I do, as you know, on my radio show nearly every day.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
Because there are a lot of lies out there.
Absolutely.
Allow me to set the record straight. About one of the biggest lies out there about Donald Trump. And I hope the liberals and the liberal media is listening. Donald Trump is not a racist. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I know what a racist looks like when I see one. And Donald Trump is not a racist. I was very disappointed when I read an article about Mitt Romney and his... Oh, I see he's a favorite of yours. When I read this article about that Mitt Romney published, he came up with a cutesy soundbite that totally was empty when he described one of his reasons for never voting for Donald Trump. And that's when he delineated in this article and released his new soundbite, supposedly that would catch fire. He called it trickle-down racism. I wrote a commentary that you can find on my website, hermankane.com. And it basically says, Mitt, you know nothing about racism. Allow me to explain it to you. And this is the other thing wrong with his proposition and the proposition of all those people that want to try and stop Donald Trump. What's wrong with that basic proposition? They are more focused on where America has come from rather than where America is going. I want to focus on where we are going. Not where we come from. And when you cut through all of the noise in the media, you cut through all of the lies, the clarity between the two presumptive nominees is very clear. Donald Trump wants to replace the tax code. Hillary Clinton wants to keep the tax code so they can continue to use the IRS against their political enemies. Donald Trump wants to rebuild our military. Hillary Clinton thinks it's just about the right size in a dangerous world. Donald Trump wants to really fix the VA. Hillary Clinton doesn't really see anything wrong with it. Donald Trump wants real energy independence. Hillary Clinton wants to put the coal people out of business, the oil people out of business, and the fracking people out of business, so we can continue to be dependent upon folk who don't like us for our energy. That's Hillary Clinton. And the other thing that's clear, in terms of a difference between Donald Trump and a Hillary Clinton.
All right, my friends, if you want to know what it is that's clear, you're going to have to go to my Facebook page, Real Truth Radio, and watch the rest of this video. It's good watching. I suggest you do it. But we're almost up against a commercial break. Item from Reuters, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump's proposal for suspending immigration from parts of the world where the history of terrorism could have a legal basis. The new twist in Trump's anti-Muslim rhetoric. Stop! I'm disappointed in Reuters. Nothing anti-Muslim about it. Trump is not anti-Muslim. They want you to think he is. Trump is pro-safety, pro-sanity, and Trump is pro-winning the war of civilizations between us and Islam. We'll be back.
Liberty Forum is sponsored by Show Your Colors, flag holders, flags, and gear. Our vehicles are an extension of our freedom. They can also be a symbol of that freedom. With full-size flags flying from your truck, car, or motorcycle, you make a statement to all that you are a patriot. Go to showyourcolors.biz for the best vehicle, flag holders, flags, and gear. Let people know where you stand by the way you ride or drive.
H&H Excavation in Evans reminds listeners thousands of children are abducted every year. Most of the cases are quickly resolved, often thanks to tips from caring, observant individuals. Those cases not resolved quickly can have tragic consequences. If you have any information that could lead to the location of a missing child, please call the authorities. Your call could save a child's life. This message is from H&H Excavation in Evans. They're on the air, working for the future of our children.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution
And we are back just like I told you we would be. Howard Riell. The show is called Real Truth. My friends, two of the most eloquent spokespeople in America when it comes to conservative issues and putting Donald Trump in the White House. They spoke yesterday, I believe, at a rally in Greensboro, North Carolina. I introduce Diamond and Silk.
Next, we have a real treat for you. Diamond and Silk are going to come up. Now, while you're here, don't forget, get registered in NC Silk. Hey, here we go. Bring it on.
Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? Yeah. Greensboro, North Carolina. Hey. I am so happy to be here and to see all of you all faces, everybody on the Trump train. I love it. Yeah. You know, we just want to say to the LGBT community that we are united and we stand with them. And an attack on one America is an attack on all America. And since our president seems to be a little perplexed chopping off heads. They killing gay people. They killing up Christians. And somebody got to talk about it. Okay. Now we not gonna be fooled by the president or crooked Hillary. No, we not. This is not about guns. This is about radical Islamic terrorism. Let's call it like we see it. And thank God we only have one man that's unafraid and unapologetic to talk about the real issues that concern America. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Now listen, we are women and we are voting for the businessman. Yes. We're not voting for a crook. And see, I know that now people are demanding that women vote the other way. Well, I'm sorry, I can't let a crook off the hook. I can't. I am so tired of people talking about doing this and doing this and doing that and not taking action. And when we look at Hillary, I see crooked Hillary. She's crooked Hillary for a reason. That's right. That's right. You say that, girl. Say that. That's right. You say that you are for women issues, but how can you be for women when you take money from countries that suppress women? That's why we... That's why we call her crooked. That's why we call her that. You say that you want women and you like women and you want to help women, but why would you let or not be concerned about women crossing our border pregnant where they could get hurt or maimed or raped? But you say you for women. That's why we call her crooked. You know, I want someone that's going to take action. And when I look at Donald J. Trump, I see a job creator. A good negotiator. That's right. And a motivator. I see someone that wants to keep the American people safe. Now, I want to know, is everybody in this room on the Trump train? Hey, I can't hear you. Is everybody on this room? Are y'all on the Trump train? Now, it's going to take us all to help him make America great again. Are you all willing to do so? All aboard? Are we all aboard? Well, let me introduce to some and present to others, none other than Pastor Mark Bird.
All right, that's where we exit. But my friends, you can see supporters are vocal, and they should be, and they have to be, because as loud as we scream, the major media is louder and more pervasive, and they lie, and they lie, and they lie. They are a wing of the Democratic Party. They are the propaganda wing of the Hillary for President campaign. They lie their asses off. The Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC. They lie. Now, you and I, being decent, honest folk, we don't expect to be lied to. And so when we read or hear something in the media, we think, oh, I didn't know that. We got to stop. We got to think, who's telling me this? Which news outlet is this? If it's in the Washington Post, it's probably crap. If it's in the New York Times, they're a liberal rag. They mean nothing. If it's coming out of the mouth of Anderson Cooper, it's almost certainly a lie. You got to be wise consumers. Caveat emptor, let the buyer beware, because a lot of the news coming at us is not really news, it's really propaganda, and we need to know about it. Item from pjmedia.com, an ISIS-affiliated media group issued new statements today praising Orlando nightclub shooter Omar Mateen as, quote, a lion of the caliphate and a hero for slaughtering 49, quote, infidels and calls on other lone jihadis to follow his example. Stop! Question. It's a question I've asked you many times, my friends. If you're listening to me for a long period of time, you're probably sick of hearing this question, but I'm going to keep asking it. Because in this question lies the cure for terrorism. How can a Muslim perpetrate a terrorist act in America if there were no Muslims in America? How could mosques preach hate if there were no mosques? How could Muslim immigrants come here and plot against the American people and massacre innocent people if Muslims were not allowed to come here? That's the cure for terrorism, my friend. It's a stone-cold cure, and anything short of that amounts to nothing. We'll be back.
And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15.
We all know that our government is out of control. What are the point the people in it? How can we, the people, bring it back to the people's servants, not the people's masters? Liberty Forum and the Freedom Rider says officials in government must be made accountable for their actions. AccountabilityRevolution.com is the place to go to learn how you can actually make that happen. Become their judges, not their slaves. AccountabilityRevolution.com.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network.
Since the uniformed people in Greeley ask everyone to get involved in our community this holiday season, whether it's a toy for a needy child, care package for military members, or giving the gift of life by giving blood, you can make a difference and directly affect someone else's life. This message is from Centus, the uniformed people in Greeley. Call 352-2233. They're on the air because they care. Named one of the most admired outsourcing companies in America. Centus.
From AmericanNews.com, in Arizona, a 43-year-old man named Ansar Muhammad is facing an array of charges after threatening to kill his wife. However, Muhammad claims that Islamic law allowed him to do just that. Charges against Muhammad include assault and imprisonment for punching, strangling, and sexually assaulting his wife. Luckily, the victim was able to escape and flee to a nearby home where she called the police. According to the police report, the couple was arguing about an alleged affair. The report includes some gruesome details of the attack, during which Muhammad put his wife in a vehicle against her will and began to physically assault her. When she tried to leave, Muhammad told her that he could kill her due to his Islamic belief. His wife was left with multiple bruises and other minor injuries from the incident. Unquote. So, my friends, if there are Muslims who believe they're allowed to murder their own wives, what are they going to do when they get their hands on your wife? Or your young daughter? Or your mother? Well, don't worry about it because it's not an issue. I mean, unless you live in a town where there are Muslims. In that case, you have my permission to worry about it. Item. From the Economic Collapse blog, Islamic terror can strike anywhere. On Sunday, it was a gay nightclub in Orlando called Pulse, but next time it might be a church or a school. In fact, it might be your church or your school. As you'll see, 29-year-old Omar Mateen actually scouted Walt Disney World as a potential target before finally setting on a gay nightclub. Not too long ago, another Islamic terrorist had already made plans to shoot up a very large church in Detroit. It's high time that we all had a reality check when it comes to Islamic terror. The terrorists are not limiting themselves to just military and political targets. Their goal is to create fear and panic, and they want as much media attention on their acts of violence as possible. So, if attacking a church or a school or a theme park will serve their purposes, then that's exactly what they're going to do. Item from the Washington Post. God help us. Russian government hackers penetrated the computer network of the Democratic National Committee and gained access to the entire database of opposition research on GOP presidential candidate Donald Trump, according to committee officials and security experts who responded to the breach. The intruders so thoroughly compromised the DNC system that they were able to read all email and chat traffic, said DNC officials and the security experts. Unquote. My friends, if you're looking to the DNC for intelligence or security, forget it. Item. In a statement from the conservativerepublic.com, in a statement condemning the shooting at a gay nightclub in Orlando, Senator Jeff Sessions, Republican Alabama, a supporter of Donald Trump, asserted that, quote, foreign nationals do not have a right to demand entry to the United States. No one has a constitutional right to enter the United States, Sessions said. People in this country have a right to be fully protected in the practice of their religion and expression of their political views against unfair treatment based on those beliefs. But foreign nationals do not have a right to demand entry to the United States, and it's perfectly appropriate for the country to refuse admission to those whose presence may be detrimental to the national interest. Unquote. My friends, this kind of statement from Jeff Sessions used to be called common sense. Well, common sense is dying a long and painful death in this country. I only know about one way to bring it back. Elect Donald Trump president. Because if we have Democrats, especially Hillary, especially Barack Obama, and that whole brood, if we have them in charge, common sense, rationality, logic will continue to strangle to death, and it'll take America along with it. I'll be back tomorrow with more Real Truth, my friends. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay angry.